Previously on Train Adventures, Mammoth and model railway action, train spotting in Ipswich, and a birthday weekend away in London. Welcome to the Train Adventures mid-season finale, part 2. We start off where we left off, here at Westfield at Stratford Station. Me and Chelsea take the train back to Liverpool Street, and this is taken by a Class 315 in a new blue and white livery known as TfL Rail. So let's leave December 2015 and head on to a new year. So here we are at the Mid Norfolk Railway's Winter Diesel Gala on the 2nd of January 2016. Here we see a Class 47, number 47367 Kenny Cockbird, with the strange facelift on one end, locomotive. On the other end of this train is 47596 in Network South East livery, Aldborough Festival. Now this is a festive gala. In this clip we see some fantastic thrash and clag in action on the Class 47 as we leave Dereham. Now at Fuxton, the 47s wait for the down train to Dereham. Heading on the down train to Dereham is the one and only visitor of this gala, and that is Class 57 in direct rail services, 57306. Now this locomotive, as you can see, is in a right grubby livery. On the back of this service there is a Class 45133. Me and Simon are going to catch this service back up to Dereham. Santa's been in here.
There's one actually. Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
Now back at Dereham, the 45 departs the train up to the end of Dereham Loop. The 57 then follows.
Seriously need to be
The 57 then heads to the front of the train, ready to take it back to Wyndham Abbey Halt.
Well, I know somebody had a car, they didn't kept going wrong. I think he took them up to he must have found them out what was up and then he did the software. Right, I think she's going Volkswagen.
The 45, on the other hand, heads to the back of the train. Back at Thaxton, we notice the 47s, Kenny Cockbird and Aldborough Festival on a train bound for Dereham. Guess what me and Si do? We get on this service. Now, notice how we haven't gone all the way down to Wyndham Abbey. This is because we didn't think it was worth going all the way down to Wyndham Abbey, as to be honest, there is not too much there. Now back at Dereham again for a tea break in the cafe. As you can see, the cafe is very festive with a lot of Christmas decorations on. This is very, very cosy, and it certainly was a very nice experience for us both. At least this place doesn't have plastic forks. Unfortunately, this happened.
Well, this is awkward. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
As we head back outside onto the station platform, we notice 47, 367 and 45 133 in platform 2 ticking over with the Spowlux valves. Heading into the platform is none other than the Class 57 with the rake of Mark II and Mark III coaches. the other end of the train, an interesting sight of the 45 and Class 47 heading up to Dereham sidings. The Class 47 Kenny Cockbird has actually been done for today. So basically what it's going to do is shunt back into one of the sidings and shut off for the rest of the day. The 45, however, will join the 57 on one last run up to Windham Abbey. As we head back to the car to fetch some dinner, we notice a very brightly painted van in British Railways Network Rail style livery. Simon's awesome limited edition car. You know, I bet everyone gets annoyed at this crossing down here. Do you? Because they'll be like holding up sometimes every time a train goes over it. Take a guess where we went for lunch. None other than McDonald's. Rounding off our trip is a shot from McDonald's restaurant of the 57 and 45 heading up to Windham Abbey. Here we are at the quiet Audley End station, waiting for a train to London. Where are we going today then, Al?
London. Breakfast.
Taking us to London is a Class 379.
The next stop will be Newport.
On this trip to London, we're exploring Covent Garden's London Transport Museum, which shows a lot of history about London's railways and the tubes. As you can see, this museum is reasonably popular.
Yes, I have.
We love our lifts.
Don't you like lifts?
Yeah.
Don't jump! You'll break the springs!
They don't
No!
break the springs. They don't have springs in elevators anymore. It's on a cable.
I want a cable then!
As we reached inside the London Transport Museum, it was buzzing with life. As you can see, the museum has a wide collection of all sorts of different types of transport. But we're here for the railways, not the buses. So we're going to have a look at the railways and how they evolved. As seen here are a load of old wagons and carriages that horses used to carry. Horses used to be the main sources of transport before the railways. Horses also used to pull farm carts, and that's where the genius George Stephenson came up with the idea. What's known as Britain's standard gauge railway of today is actually measured by the width of farm carts, and that is how the tracks were produced. There was another width of track in the railway network though, and that's Isambard Kingdom Brunel with his Great Western Railway network. These two gauges both collided one year, and there was a race between Stephenson's fantastic new locomotive he built, the Rocket. This beat off all the competitors of the broad gauge, and in that moment the government sided against Brunel's broad gauge, and so the standard gauge network was produced all around the country. London's first passenger railway was actually the London and Greenwich Railway, which was opened in London between 1836 and 1838. It was the first steam railway in the capital, the first to be built specifically for passengers, and the first elevated railway. Now we head over to the museum's actual locomotives and stock, starting from the 1960s, heading up to the present day. As you can see, the 60s stock was rather classy inside indeed. Such a shame that we don't have this classiness nowadays, with all these fantastic, lovely hanging lights and very comfortable moquette on the chairs. Nowadays, it's not as romantic as the past. People wouldn't have thought that the underground actually had diesel and steam locomotives. Well, it did. And here is one of them. This is a Metropolitan diesel locomotive, John Hampden. Here is one of two Metropolitan steam engines out there, Metropolitan number 23. The other one happens to be Metropolitan number 1, which has been recently restored and is running on heritage and mainline railways of today. Some may recognise this tube stock as a Class 485. These are running nowadays, but only at the Isle of Wight on the Island Line. Now we're going to take a look in the cab of a 70s stock on a simulator.
Right,
Here I am inside a cab of what probably was a 485 EMU. I am going to drive it and I'm going to talk you through the controls. Now this would be the forward and reverser. Unfortunately it's not here on this game because it only ever goes forwards. This here is the throttle, and that is my bell there to actually leave the station, meaning the doors have shut. So this is the throttle and this is the brake, and that's basically really what's it. So release that first and then press this here. We should be off.
Oh, it's a closed station.
Right, now that's done with, let's take a look at the more modern locomotives of today in this simulator.
Wait there, because it's your turn next, Jack.
Right, as you saw Alistair did in the cab, literally to work this one, it's literally a pull out, like that, and then turn the dead man's handle, and it's as simple as that. So nowadays trains are so simple, unlike the old 1970s, 1980s stock with the old brake handle and throttle. These are just literally a pull out and just a turn of a handle. That's literally it. Fantastic. Back to looking at trains, this was the first British electric tube train ever made. As you can see, the controls are very simple. The drivers would have to stand, and it's designed a bit like a steam locomotive with very basic handles. This is the carriage it would have pulled. What do you think of the Transport Museum then, Al?
It's good, but it's full of foreigners. Rude foreigners.
Yeah, trying to push in on the simulators.
Yeah. Need some more steam engines here.
Yeah, definitely. We need some more steam engines in the whole series.
Yeah.
Now back at London Liverpool Street, rushing to get on our train home. This ends our trip to London. And now, on a wet, wintry day in March, we return to a familiar location, Ely. This wet, cold day in March saw 8 freight trains in action at Ely. The 10:15 service through Ely didn't actually show up, and it was cancelled for some reason. Here we see the 11:15 freight instead, taken by what's known as a Class 70. These are related to the Class 58 bones. Note the bone design. Class 70s are really rare around this area, which is very strange. So this probably replaced the Class 66 that was meant to pull the 10:15 service. the 70 waits in the freight siding as another freight comes through the station. This time it's a Freightliner Class 66 locomotive. These are nicknamed sheds. Note the shed shape at the front of the loco. As an East Midlands Trains Class 158 DMU departs the station, we notice another Class 66 coming up beside it. This is number 66537. Now for another 66, 66587, still in the Freightliner livery. About 45 minutes to an hour later, another Class 66 turns up through the station, passing a Stansted Express Class 170 in cross-country livery. Now we move on to something slightly different now, as we notice a GBRF Class 66 appearing from the distance. This 66 so happens to be 66761, the Wensleydale Railway Association, 25 years 1990 to 2015.
12:58 service to Peterborough today. We are sorry for any inconvenience caused.
Moments later, we notice another 66, which gives us a double whammy of freight action, 66705. As the rain starts to pick up, another 66 shows up. This, however, is slightly different livery, a GBRF first livery, 66724 Drax Power Station, flashes through the station.
Norwich. This train is full of 3 coaches.
Quite a nostalgic sight as we see a Class 170 DMU head past Drax Power Station. This now ends our fantastic trip to Ely. And now, a few weeks later, me and Simon return to the Mid Norfolk Railway for their Spring Diesel Gala in April. Here is the prototype HST Class 41 locomotive. Now this is a very famous loco, and is one of the most famous locomotives going at the moment, along with the Flying Scotsman. This locomotive was the mother of the Class 43 HSTs of today, and was the only locomotive built of the class. On the back of this service is 37905, now numbered D6836. This is from the Midhants Railway originally, but has now been bought off by UK Rail for mainline services. Unlike the normal Class 37s, the Class 37-9s became known as slugs due to their slow application of traction power. The 41 now leads the train over Deerham Crossing. After the train has gone over the crossing, the train will then repel, leaded by D6836. Simon are going to catch this service down to Wyndham Abbey. However, we was lucky enough that it happened to be a dining service, so we got breakfast on the train. Good morning, Great British Breakfast. This is wicked. I probably am, yeah. Bacon roll or something.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bit luxury.
This is how to do galas.
Yeah, I feel like royalty in here. Back at Dereham after a pleasant ride, 37905 unhooks from the coaches and heads up to the end of the loop. After the 37 parks into the loop, we see another train heading into the station, which is ready to take the next service to Wyndham Abbey. This will be taken by Direct Rail Services Class 66 426. The 37 now leaves the loop to head up to Dereham sidings. The driver of the 66 is kind enough to let a boy, who happens to be a YouTuber, put his customised headboard on it. Heading on the down train now, back to Dereham, is a Class 50. These are known as Hoovers because when they tick over, they actually sound like a Hoover in the background. This Class 50 is in Network South East toothpaste livery, named the Royal Oak. An hour later, or after looking at the stalls at Dereham and after a tea break, we see two Class 50s in British Rail Blue. One happens to be 50007 Hercules, which happened to visit here before, and we saw it in a previous episode of Train Adventures. The other is 50050 Fearless. These two locomotives will take the next train to Wyndham Abbey. So what do me and Simon do? We take the train to Thuxton. Now at Thuxton, we wait for the Class 41 Prototype HST on the down train towards Dereham.
Beautiful sight.
After the 41 and 66 leave for Dereham, it's time for the two double-headed 50s to head towards Wyndham Abbey. Around half an hour to 45 minutes later, we notice a familiar sight of 45133 heading up into the station. The 45s used to work a lot around the Peak District, hence their nickname Peaks. Now we see the 50s on their return trip, leaded by 50007 with a train bound for Dereham. We're going to catch this service back to Dereham. Back at Dereham now, the 66 emerges from the sidings. This will obviously take the next train to Wyndham. A while later, the HST returns on a train bound for Dereham with the 45 on the back.
We've got the HST power car plus one. Right, so we will get the HST power car. We're missing another thing. We're packed away the slides. Yeah, because they kept blowing off.
As seen up the line, a pair of 47s, Kenny Cockburn and Albury Festival are on the move. These are obviously going to take the next train out to Wyndham Abbey.
Look, I'm never getting rabbits again. 2 days later, we're getting rabbits again.
Pardon me.
He can be when he starts. You know what the ETH on the sweaty coffins will be? There's two more plugs I got. I think they might be using the young plug. Remember when that livery first went?
A while later, a pair of 50s heading to Dereham Loop. 50007 and 50017. The 47s are now clear to depart. So why are these 50s in the Dereham Loop? We're just going to have to find out, won't we? Heading down on a train for Dereham is the other Class 50. And as seen on the back is the Class 66. The 66 now departs for Dereham sidings. We are now going to head up a little bit up the line to a crossing just outside of Dereham Station to watch a very special service. This consists of a triple header of 3 Class 50 Hoovers. Now, this is a very rare sight on any preserved railway, and what a pleasure it was for me and Simon to see this. And now it draws the close to our programme. We do hope you've enjoyed this episode of Train Adventures and the mid-season finale. Train Adventures will return soon. Goodbye for now. Let's go see some trains.